In this video I'd like to deviate from bot trading, and tell you about my experience using dual asset mining, on Bybit. I had only recently started to trade on the Bybit exchange, and so far I have a very high opinion about this platform. I will make more videos later, and will show you how I trade using Bybit. Today, however, I want to share with you the recording I had made when trying the so-called dual asset mining feature. As you see, I have a bit over $844 as my total equity here on Bybit. And in order for me to use dual asset mining, I need to move my funds between various Bybit accounts that I have under my name. Specifically, I am moving my funds now from my derivatives account, which I am using for trading, to the Buyfi account, which I'll use for the dual asset mining. As I scroll down here, I see a number of offerings, and I suppose that most of you are familiar with the concepts such as staking, or liquidity mining. My personal experience is very limited in this area, and is why I wanted to have a first-hand experience trying some of these offerings. As you can see here, Bybit is offering an up to 400% APY, for allocating your funds to dual asset mining. I like that the duration to lock the funds is just 1 day, and from the pairs I can see on my screen now, the annual percentage yield, APY, percent is well above 300% and on some pairs even more than 400%. Based on my experience, such high return is difficult to achieve even with some very robust trading bots, and naturally, I am very interested in giving this a try. Now, all I need to do is choose a pair to allocate my funds to. Here I am not specifically going to choose the one with the highest percent, but rather I'll look for a token that I like. I've now stopped at the BitDAO, a token named Bit, and that's the token I will select for dual asset mining. I think I'd like to come back to this BitDAO, at some point of time, and dedicate an entire video to it. But right now I will just highlight this. I had selected this token, because with the dual asset mining, you can either make USDT or you can actually end up with the token you're providing the liquidity for, and in this case, I have a possibility to end up with Bit token. I do not mind owning Bit, and that is why I selected this pair. This is also my first recommendation to you, if you plan to try dual asset mining. Select a pair with a token you believe in, and want to own. To proceed, I can either choose to allocate funds in Bit or in USDT, and since my funds are currently in USDT, I switch to this quote currency and allocate the max amount that I have. Before I press the submit button, let's take a quick look at the information shown on this order page. I already mentioned to you that the duration of locking my funds is just 1 day, and we saw that the APY was above 300%, specifically 313%. Now, I want to point out to you the importance of the estimated benchmark price value, here set to 1.541. If the price of Bit token will be above or equal to 1.541 USDT, I will end up earning 7.24 USDT. But if the BitDAO token drops below the value of 1.541 on the day of my settlement, I will end up with Bit token, and I will earn 4.69 Bit tokens, making $7.24, out of a total investment of $844.21, sounds like a good deal to me. This means I would have a return of 0.86% on the day of settlement. In the rest of this video, I will show you how this plays out. I am doing this type of a transaction for the first time, and I am also recording this for you. I am learning as I go. I've read the official documentation behind the dual asset mining, and I am also leaving a link to the documentation from the Bybit exchange in the description below. Based on the documentation, once you submit the order, there is no way to update or cancel it, and your only option is to wait. On this screen, I had also realized that, even though the dual asset mining was stated to take 1 day, the settlement is 1.5 days from my order time. As I come back to my account after a day and a half, I see that my account's value had increased from $844 to $851. That means that order was settled, and I have realized the profit from trying the dual asset mining. I need to go to the Bybit section, so that I can see my order history. It takes a bit to get used to the navigation, because there are so many products and services that crypto exchanges such as Bybit are offering. Here, under Bybit account I can see my dual asset mining orders. I do not have any active orders now, so I'll switch to the All Orders tab, to see the past transactions. Under the status column, I can see that my order was completed, I can see the total proceeds amount, and the final settlement date. I will now go in to make another dual asset mining order. I am doing my orders in USDT quote currency, and I can choose any pair that is available for dual asset mining. If, however, I had Bit token, or Ethereum, or Bitcoin, I could also create an order for that specific currency. If the price of that token were to rise, I would have sold it with a profit, but if the price of that token would fall, I would end up accumulating more of it, so, it would certainly be better than just hodling that token. Still, this is tricky, because you are effectively making a bet about the value of the price of the token at the specific moment of time called the settlement period, and either of the two outcomes can happen. So this is going to be a second time I am locking funds for the dual asset mining, and it's slightly past 10 AM. I am noticing now that the settlement date is actually 2 full days away from now. So, even though the duration is shown to be 1 day, the actual time since I am putting this order now, and the date when I will be receiving the profit is almost 48 hours apart. I am making a note of that, because if I wanted to estimate a monthly or a yearly income from this activity, I would need to be mindful that I am able to realize the profits only every other day and not every day. The profit from this second time of dual asset mining would be even higher than my first try, since the APY percent is now higher. It is 340%, and also I have a bit more money that I am staking. The yield percentage and the settlement price are both determined by the Bybit, via their proprietary algorithm, and are changing each day, and often several times per day. So now, the order is placed and I can see it in the effective, that is active, orders. And if I switch to All Orders tab, you'll see that I am starting to have a history of my transactions, with the first one completed and the second one still active. Let's fast forward by these 2 days, and see how my second attempt to stake Bit USDT turned out. As you can see, the value of my account had increased again, and I am starting to get very excited. Now the total equity is shown to be $859, and I had started with $844 less than 4 days ago. I allocated my USDT to the dual asset mining offering twice, and both times it yielded a return in USDT, which had increased my total equity. Was I just lucky? It turns out, I was, and we'll get there shortly. In a meanwhile, I go to my Bybit account, to stake the dual assets again. Because both times I ended up making USDT, and the total value of my account was growing, we can conclude that both times the settlement price was above or equal to the benchmark price. In order for me to be lucky for the third time, the settlement price should be above or equal to 1.579. And, this should be the price of the Bit token at the settlement date, which is, again, 2 days from now. If the price of the Bit token will be below, I'll end up owning Bit token. In other words, Bybit exchange will buy the Bit token on my behalf if the price of the token falls, and I know exactly how much Bit token I would receive. Can I determine how likely it is to happen just by looking at the price chart? The settlement price that we saw a moment ago was 1.579, and that is basically the benchmark price, or the current price, that we see Bit token is being traded for. Luckily, I see that there was a bit of a drop just recently, so there's a chance that the price would bounce back up and be above the value of 1.579 in 2 days from now. I think that $2 may be the resistance level, so I would probably stop using BitUSDT pair for dual asset mining if the price of the BIT token approaches the value of $2. Unfortunately, I am not able to forecast the price accurately for the next 2 days, so I take my chances, and I submit the order, now for the third time. I am again lucky, even on my third iteration of staking. My account balance is now at $867. It's actually pretty amazing, because I am getting the 0.86% of return on investment in 2 days, as I calculated in the beginning of the video, as long as the price does not drop below the benchmarked value. But I am also missing out, if the price of BIT token is increasing significantly. I am staying with a fixed percent, while I could have potentially taken a larger profit. Now, I see that the estimated benchmark and settlement levels are at $1.65, since the price of the BIT token continues to increase. I've already made up my mind that I'll continue to do these dual asset mining orders until the price nears $2, so I am again submitting a new order. This order that I submitted on February 10th will settle on February 12th, and the price of BIT token should be above $1.65. Now it's February 11th, 1 day before order settlement, and I decided to look at the price chart. I think that even before $2, there's also a resistance at $1.65, and now I am starting to worry as to whether the price will break this resistance level. This is where the price needs to be tomorrow, and it appears to be unlikely. My effective orders tab shows an active order that is due to mature, but the value of the estimated proceeds appears to be lower than the initial value that I staked. This is because the current price of BIT token is below the benchmark price of 1.6520, and the platform is already calculating the value of my assets in the BIT tokens, and not in USDT. This is the dark side of the dual asset mining. Since my value is already estimated in BIT tokens, its actual equivalent amount in US dollars can drop significantly if the price of BIT token continues to drop. It could go down to 1.5, or drop even more. Now, I would still get the same amount of BIT tokens that I was promised. But, their overall value in dollars would even be less than $865. This is going to be my fourth consecutive staking order, and I'll see the results of it soon. As I log in the following day, my heart sinks with disappointment. The value of my equity is $842. It is even less than what I've started with a week ago. The asset that I am holding now is BIT token. All my USDT funds were converted to buy 529 BIT tokens, which I knew would happen sooner or later. But still, I feel disappointed, because I should have probably anticipated that the price level of the fourth staking order was difficult to maintain. I am disappointed, because I had lost over $25 of gains, and a week of time, where I could have dedicated my funds to another strategy. I see that BIT token is 3.66% below the price level, where my order was supposed to settle. Now I am holding the BIT token as my equity, and I am deciding to run another iteration of dual asset mining. Similarly as before, I put the max investment, but now in BIT token currency. If the price rises above the current level, Bybit will sell my BIT token, and will provide me with USDT. but if the price drops further, I'll earn more of Bit token. The problem I see here is that the Bit token can jump up by 1 or 2 or 5%, but my own payout will be very limited, less than 1%, and as you can see, I am still far away in terms of returning the equity that I lost. So actually, I am rooting for the price of the Bit token to drop, because then I'll generate more of the Bit token. This would be very similar to shorting the token. I am tempted to cancel out of this order, but I decide to run this dual asset mining operation, for the one last time. By the way, note how the benchmark price is empty here, after I submit the order. Based on the official documentation, the benchmark price is updated every 5 minutes, so what we've been seeing on the order page was always an estimated benchmark price. A more precise value is inserted here only 5 minutes after your order was submitted. The value that we saw some 15 seconds ago was 1.592. So let's fast forward again by 2 days, and see the final results of this order. During the last 2 days the price had dropped. But it's beginning to rise now. Seems that after I placed my last order the price continued to drop, so the settled price is below of what was estimated for me. It's not ideal, I think, since my decision making was not based on all the true facts, but again, it was a part of Bybit disclaimer. As you can see, my last 2 orders had settled in the Bit token, since during the last 4 days the price of the Bit token continued to decline. Unfortunately, that also means that the value of my account, in terms of US dollars, is also continuing to decline. Even though now I am starting to accumulate the Bit token currency. I decided that I will not go for another iteration of the dual asset mining process. Instead, I had transferred the Bit token which I have accumulated to a derivatives account and created a trading bot. And as you can see, I am catching up, and increasing the equity value of the account. I very much do like the Bybit exchange, and I hope this video will not be taken as a criticism to Bybit, or to the dual asset mining. My primary skill and experience is with automated trading by using bots and algorithms, and perhaps I missed an important strategy element, when staking crypto with the dual asset mining process. What about you? What do you think about the dual asset mining?